Let's see how everything's doing in June. Hello and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. It is time for our June garden tour. Hi everyone, my name is Kim and it is time for us to talk about how the garden has started flourishing in the month of June. Now we're down to like the last week of the month, but first it was too rainy and then it was too hot. But it just finished raining and it's late in the afternoon, or should I say early evening, and it's brought the temperature down just enough so I can squeeze in this garden tour just for you. And I figured, why not start in our wonderful, beautiful orchard area? Because honestly, this is what's been flourishing more than anything else in the entire garden. And we're going to focus on the garden today. We will save the neighbors for another day, but we will focus on what's happening at Kim's Cozy Corner. Y'all, I normally don't talk very much about flowers, but the amount of flowers that I've added to this orchard area has really made this area look so good. I have flowers around that dead plant over there that's supposed to be a blackberry or a blueberry bush. They're over here as well. I have flowers in pots. I even got a flower down there and my little bicycle down there. My pink lady apple is getting big. Oh, there's another one. So there's two apples on here. One back there and one right there. This apple tree hasn't even been in the ground a year. It came from fast growing trees and it's doing great. This is one of my cherry trees that I just put in about a week ago. This is Juliet. Hello, Juliet. You're looking pretty good. We got blueberries growing right here. And y'all, I've had a chance to eat a few of these blueberries and they are quite delicious. They're super sweet. They definitely taste better than anything you're going to find in the grocery store. This right here is one of my winter squash. This is called the Australian butter squash. And it was growing really, really nicely. And then somehow or another, it got a bend in it right there. So hopefully it doesn't kill the plant off because it was doing so well. Right here next to it, I have all kinds of melons growing and they're starting to really take off and they're flourishing. On this peach tree right here, most of the blooms on this peach tree came in right when we had a frost. So I don't believe that they got pollinated, but there's about 4, 5, maybe a half dozen peaches on here that are growing and they're starting to get bigger in size. Here's my strawberry GreenStalk. And I'm always talking about the runners on your strawberries. This right here, this is a runner. This is what that runner looks like. And all I got to do is poke it. Well, it won't reach that pocket. Let me find one. Okay, here's one. Here's a runner. All I got to do is poke it in a pocket like that. It's going to take root and it's going to give me more strawberries. And when we started the year, y'all, there were a lot of blank spots in this GreenStalk. And you can see the strawberries are starting to fill it out by using the runners. Now, y'all know I didn't plant these potatoes. These potatoes planted themselves and they are blooming like crazy. Y'all, I got to take advantage of that. I didn't want to. I was very unhappy with these potatoes coming in, but now I'm like, wait a minute now, y'all. We might get a pretty good harvest off of these potatoes. I got blooms everywhere on these potatoes, and I've been trying to move the potatoes in directions where they don't get in the way of my melons. I got melons over there. I got melons growing right here as well. And the goal is to let these melons drape over the side and then trellis down on the ground. That's the plan anyway, but I got to keep all of these potatoes off of it. Now the potatoes are starting to die back a little bit, so I think we're about done with this potato invasion. So moving on around, more strawberries and weeds, because there's some weeds right there. I need to get those out. Strawberries and all of the green stalks are looking very good. With all of the hot weather we've been having, I was getting a little concerned about the strawberries drying out. Now, my strawberries are not really crazy about these 95+ degree days, but I've been watering them every morning. I get up and I'm outside by 6 a.m. and I'm out here making sure that all of the pockets are nice and watered so they can handle this very hot weather that we're in right now. And in this space right here, there's no trees, there's no shade. They're in full sun, I would say 90% of the time. And so I need to make sure that I keep these pockets very moist on my 3 strawberry GreenStalk vertical planters. I'm going to keep working my way right on around. Blueberries are coming in. That's just a day or so. Actually, I can eat that, y'all. That blueberry is ready. It's got a deep color to it. And I see one more. Oh, I dropped it. Come to me. Yes. Yes. Delicious. I have yet to have a blueberry make it in the house. And I really don't think any of them are going to make it in the house this year. But it's a good garden stack. So more flowers. These are my watermelon. And these are sugar baby watermelon growing here. They just started trellising outside the container. And I have some type of melon on the back side right here that we just planted last week. And it's already broke ground and it's happy. That planter is looking really, really good. I'm just going to keep working my way around. This green stalk right here, I was trying to show everyone that you can grow a variety of things in a green stalk. In the bottom, I have just one 10-inch original pocket in the bottom. And that's where you plant different things that need more root space, right? That's your 10-inch deep pockets. And then I have 4 tiers that are the 7-inch or the leaf planter size pockets. So in the bottom here, I have eggplant, which by the way, looks amazing. This is the best I've ever seen my eggplant look. I also have squash growing down here. Now this plant's a little small, but it's healthy. I had green worms, the cabbage worms, kind of infest my brassica last week. I took care of them with 7. BT does work. I don't have any BT, but I got rid of all of those worms. They're all gone now. There are no worms anywhere in sight. And now that I have them gone, I will make sure that I'm using BT, surround kaolin clay, different things like that to make sure that my plants are not as attractive. This right here, y'all, is what I wanted to show you. This right here. This is a Ford hook squash plant. And there is a Ford hook squash down there on this plant. I don't know if you can see it though, but it's right there. And there's more than one on this plant. So yes, you can grow squash in a green stalk. So I have that down here. I think I'm all the way back around. In the next tier, I have different types of cucumbers growing. These are cucumbers here. I have different types of flowers throughout the whole thing. Oh, y'all, I got ready to flip out, but that's not a worm. I thought it was. There's more cucumbers over here, and I'm starting to try to trellis the cucumbers around a little better. In the very top here, I have some romaine lettuce, and it's actually looking really good. What else I got up here in the top? I have some melons growing up here. I have 2 different types of musk melons growing up here in the top. Flowers, more cucumbers. I harvested two, no, not on this one. And I think that's it on this one. That's it on this one. Let's move over to the one behind me. On this GreenStalk, we harvested 2 heads of cabbage, which were quite tasty last weekend. I have more eggplant in here, cucumbers, tomatoes. These are tomato plants that I started indoors, and these are dwarf tomato plants. I started them indoors. There's little tomatoes on that one. I have tomatoes on this one. I'll bring you in close and show you them as well. More tomatoes over here, but these were started indoors in my indoor grow space, and then I brought them outside. I have more cucumbers growing, and what else is on here? Oh, squash. I got squash in here as well. I got peppers in here that are starting to bloom, and put small peppers on. There's kale. The kale's looking good. There's a cabbage right there. Tomatoes right here in the top. I have collard greens in the top as well, but I have empty pockets now. And since I have empty pockets, we're going to need to do some succession planning to make sure that I'm growing at all times. So maybe by the weekend I can get out here and we can plant some new things in the empty pockets. I do have one tomato plant that bit the dust up here, and I believe I'm going to go ahead and plant some micro dwarf tomatoes from seed in the top here, because there's still time to grow tomatoes. I'm a long ways from my last frost date, and since this one bit the dust, it'll be nice to have some more micro dwarf tomatoes growing in here so we can just show you just how fast they can grow. But hey, here's another mixed GreenStalk of many different things. Let's move on over and keep getting through the garden. In this bed right here, I have cabbage, and this cabbage is doing really, really well. So cabbage is in the front, and behind the cabbage, y'all, these are cucumbers. Now they're a little yellow, and we fertilized last weekend, but then it got up to over 100 degrees for the last 5-6 days. So I'm hoping once the temperature cools back off, these will be okay. But cucumbers in the back, and all different varieties of cabbage is in the front. Cabbage is a cool season crop. It does not like 100-degree weather. It doesn't like a lot of this bright, hot sun either. And some of these heads are ready to be harvested, and some aren't. I'm just not ready to harvest them. We just enjoyed some over the weekend. But I'm hoping that these cucumbers are going to go ahead and come in and fill up this trellis behind it and block that hot evening sun, so that this cabbage can hold on just a little longer, so I can kind of stagger the harvest so that I'm not overrun by cabbage at any one time. That right there, y'all, that's Romeo. That's my other cherry tree that I just planted, and it's got a lot of dead leaves down low. I've been trying to give it a little extra water with all this heat to see if that'll help it out, and I need it to survive through this heat wave that we're in. And then I have 3 containers of cucumbers. The last container over there on the end, I started from seed, but it's taking off. It's doing well. There are little bitty cucumbers on these vines, and I have the vines climbing up these trellises here. Now, I put too many in there. I mean, y'all know what it is, like how it is, right? That teeny little plant that you put in there, the teeny little plant, you don't think about how big it's really going to get. Y'all, I shouldn't have put but 1 cucumber in each one of these. And y'all, I put 4. Now, only 3 survived in this one, but now it's just way too many over here. But I'm going to keep working with it. If I have to let some lay on the ground, I'll do that. This one, I think I only had 4 that made it, or 3 that made it as well. But the plants are so healthy, and I'm trying to get them to climb up versus laying down, but we will see what we're going to do with them. They look good. They're healthy. I don't see any bug damage on them. And I plan on using Surround kaolin clay and spray the leaves to try to keep the cucumber beetles away from these. as well as using it on my squash to keep the squash vine borers away as well. But the cucumbers are looking good so far this year. That right there, y'all, that is okra. I'm growing okra for Mom. It's doing really nicely there. I have that container and this container here of okra. And then behind the okra, y'all, I have the squash. And this one is yellow as well, but I do have squash on here. I'm going to harvest this squash tomorrow. Some of them didn't get fertilized, right? They're drying up, but then there's some good ones on here as well. This one has a lot of nice ones on here. But I'm going to have to say this one is doing the best with lots of squash, zucchini, or summer squash, whatever you want to call it. This one's happy, that one's doing okay, and that one's not doing as well. In between the squash, I did start some melon, and no, the melon didn't need to be in here, but I put it in here anyway. Now, I'm expecting the squash to not last very long. I'm not going to deal with a struggling squash plant. But once it gives up on me, I'm going to pull that squash plant out, and then this bed will have plenty of room for the melons to grow. So that's really the plan for this bed here. I have flowers in the front. Now, all of my flowers look good except for these two right here. And it's just the sun, y'all. It's hot. The heat index has been like 110. So it's just too hot for it not to have any shade at all in this space. Moving on around in this bed right here, I have more cabbage growing. I got an empty spot that I need to put something in, and I got some dead plants that I might try to grow here. I have broccoli right here. Looks like we might get a few more side shoots on them. Right next to the side of my she shed, I'm growing some tomatoes there. We have some more flowers in the front and tons of weeds. On this trellis here, I am trying to grow cucumbers up this back trellis here. But y'all, that sun beams down on the side of the she shed and it's just too hot. But I'm hoping they will recover as soon as this weather cools down. In the front, I have onions growing, and they are just now starting to try to bulb up on us. So hopefully we have a good onion harvest because my supply is getting very low. I have another eggplant and another eggplant, and then a volunteer tomato plant actually in the back there. Now y'all, I call this Bean Alley because I have strike pole beans growing over here, and I thought I saw one. I'll bring you in close and show you what a strike bean looks like if I can. Oh, there, that's not it. If I can remember where I saw it, I will show you what a strike bean looks like. On this side, I have Blue Lake pole beans. And then in the bed just behind, y'all, we got all kinds of bush green beans growing. So let me bring you in close. And I've already harvested them twice, the bush beans. And it's like I need to harvest every 3 days because that's just how fast the bush beans are coming in. There's my first strike bean. And it's got little purple stripes on it, but it's tiny for now. And there's some little baby ones right there. The pole beans are starting to come in as well. They're small. There's a bigger one right there. That one's a little bigger. And there's quite a few more up high up here. But down low, y'all, these are my bush beans. Bush beans are coming in like mad. I think that's a Landreth right there. Down on this end, these are providers. Coming in down here on this end, lots of beans. And y'all, I really should have picked them today, but I'll get them first thing in the morning. And on this side right here, I have Italian style flat beans. So it's a wide flat bean over here. But this bed is just nothing but beans, and it's full of beans. So the bush beans come in first, and then we'll get to enjoy all of these pole beans that's going to completely cover this trellis for us. This is my sweet pepper GreenStalk. These are 3-year-old plants right here, and they are putting on peppers. There's a pepper. There are more peppers on here. Actually, y'all, there are a lot of peppers on here, and some really nice sized peppers too. Look at that. Look at those peppers right there. I got some bell peppers down here. It looks like I only have one pocket that didn't make it. It looks like I have at least one pepper, if not more, in every other pocket. And so we have brand new peppers that we just planted, as well as 1-year overwintered peppers, 2-year overwintered peppers, and then 3-year peppers. So this GreenStalk is just super, super happy. So right here, I have one tomato plant growing in this trellising system here. But on the back side, and yeah, y'all, I haven't done a good job. I have not taken care of my tomatoes at all. Not at all, y'all. I haven't gotten rid of the lower leaves off the bottom. I haven't trellised them very well. And yeah, I'm not going to get to it this week. Maybe next week I can get to them. But in the front, I have squash growing here. There's a little baby one that might make it. And then I have squash right here. This squash, I am going to try to grow it straight up. So this is I think it's yellow squash. Yeah, there's a yellow one over here. There's a little yellow squash right there. But I'm going to try to grow it straight up in between these two stakes here to kind of just manage the leaves of that one. And we'll see how that works. All of those tomatoes are volunteers, and they're all black cherry tomatoes. They are already putting tomatoes on. So we will get to enjoy black cherry tomatoes again this year and every year until the end of time, most likely. I have more green beans over here. And more green beans, right, next to those tomatoes. This right here is my dwarf tomato tower. Nothing in this GreenStalk except for dwarf tomatoes. I went ahead and put trellising on this system to kind of help hold these vines up. I got tomatoes coming in as well. There are lots of tomatoes on here. Last year, my dwarf GreenStalk rolled off of my sidewalk, and I lost a ton of plants. But this year, it's protected, it's in a good spot, and they are looking good. So far, I've only lost, I believe, one tomato plant. It just dried up and died for no reason. I don't know why, but it did. And so I've only lost one. Very happy with the dwarf tomato GreenStalk. Now, just next to those dwarf tomatoes is my hot pepper GreenStalk vertical planter. In the very top, I have onions growing, and they're getting thick and starting to bulb up. I really need to cut these tops off so that they don't prematurely fall over. But down here, y'all, I have all kinds of hot peppers. The cayenne peppers are doing the best. I have tons and tons of cayenne peppers, and I don't see tags on these, but I have poblanos over here as well, and these are looking good. These poblanos, more poblanos down here. Like I said, cayenne peppers, serranos. I have serrano peppers in here as well. Rain fell in my glasses. These are green, they're healthy. And I believe this GreenStalk vertical planter is doing better than the sweet one, but I think it has something to do with where I have it located. So I'm keeping that in mind as I set up my garden for next year. Oh, I see my first red cayenne pepper. I'll bring you in close so you can see some of the peppers a little closer up. So we have cayenne peppers right here, looking great. Poblanos down here. I don't know though, that might not be a poblano, y'all. That might be an Anaheim chili pepper. It's either that or a poblano. I know that's a poblano right there. This right here is a Serrano. But anyway, they are looking amazing. Like y'all can't see this, but way over there, I'm gonna see if I can come in close. Y'all, those peppers are so big, I can see them from here. They are huge. It's at least 8 inches long and on its way to be even bigger than that. So turning around here, tomato alley, just like we got bean alley, we got tomato alley, and you can see the tomatoes have not been taken care of on either side or over there either. They haven't been taken care of. But the one thing that's true about all of my tomatoes is, y'all, they are starting to turn. I got some champagne bubbles here that's not going to make it till tomorrow. And I have some supernovas that's not going to make it to tomorrow either. I'm just being honest with you. And then what is this here? And this is my rosella that's not going to make it to tomorrow. So let me show you what I got. This is a champagne bubbles. Quite delicious. Oh, oh, it's so good. Yeah, I'm having my dinner out here. This is a supernova grape-shaped tomato. It's got little gold striations in it. Yep. And this is a rosella cherry tomato right here. And another champagne bubbles. Delicious. And I have some slicers that's getting pretty big as well. I mean, and they're laying on the ground, y'all. I gotta get these up. There it is. There's the other one over there. I got a Cherokee purple somewhere here that's already turning purple. I have slicers over here. In the front here, I have onion and grass growing. I need to clean the grass from over there. I have more cabbage over here and cauliflower over here that it looks like the cabbage might head up, but I don't think the cauliflower is going to do anything. Behind there, that's mustard greens that went to seed. I need to get those out. And I have more onion right there. This is one of my potato metal raised beds. And y'all, they are really starting to die back. I believe I will be harvesting potatoes in the next 3 weeks or so. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the potatoes. Everybody says, hey, when do you harvest potatoes? Some people say you let them die all the way back until the plants are completely dead. I disagree. That is one way of doing it. That's not the way I prefer to do it. When you do that, I believe you run the risk of the potatoes staying in the ground too long, and then they get these white spots all over them, and then they don't store as long. I prefer to harvest when my plants look more like this right here. Like this right here. My potatoes might be a little smaller, but they definitely will last longer in storage. And when you're out of potatoes, you can harvest anytime. You know there are potatoes down below when you see flowers growing on your potatoes. And if you take your hand and you dig around in there, y'all, there are going to be some potatoes in there. And we call those new potatoes. And so if you need a potato, you don't have to wait till they die back. Just reach down in the dirt and get what you need. I think I got all of 3 pea plants, but my daughter has been enjoying peas off of here every day. At least she did before it got 100 degrees outside. I have 1 cabbage plant over there. Thyme is growing up under this cabbage leaf here. It's probably happy that it's getting blocked out from all of that sun. And then I got chives. They were beautiful when they were blooming, but they're dying back now. But chives, I have sage right here. And these have beautiful purple blooms on them earlier as well. And then somehow, y'all, underneath this, I have oregano. Oregano's growing underneath there, so I drop seeds in that space. This is my yellow wax bean GreenStalk. There's nothing in this GreenStalk except for yellow wax beans. And we are going to harvest these tomorrow, y'all. It'll be the second harvest on these, and y'all, they are loaded. And I do mean loaded with beans. So we'll get them harvested and taken care of. I'm probably going to have to even preserve them because there are just so many beans. I really believe green beans, peppers, and lettuce are probably, and strawberries. Okay, there's a lot of things I like growing in the green stalks. There's a whole lot of things. But I can grow a ton of beans in a green stalk. I only have 4 tiers here. That's it. 4. It's not even 5 tiers, 4 tiers. And we are going to harvest so many beans, and I will get the weights. So anytime I tell you yellow wax beans and I give you that total weight for yellow wax beans, they all came from this one planter. So we will see just how many beans this green stalk will produce this year. And yeah, my little robot over there is cutting the grass. It had to stop before the rain, but as soon as the rain was over, it went back to going to work. It's done the whole backyard today for me. Let's move on. So here's my box of potatoes. And yes, I did say box. This is our experiment this year. And I'm having trouble keeping them standing upright to the point where they've fallen all on top of my broccoli and caused a little issue with the broccoli. But at least we'll get some potatoes out of there and we'll have some fun playing around with those. I have a ton of cauliflower over here that's doing nothing. We're going to remove this cauliflower and plant something that will grow in this space. I have lettuce going to seed here. I have onion that's getting crowded out by grass and a volunteer tomato plant that I didn't mean to be here, but they are starting to bulb up. There's so much grass in here, you can't even see it, but they're starting to bulb up. In the front here, guess what? More cabbage. Cabbage did really well for me this year, and we're going to probably enjoy more cabbage than we ever have. In the back, again, you can see this heat is not helping, but in the back here is my cauliflower, and I don't think we're going to get any cauliflower. Not from here anyway. In the back of this bed here, I already have my musk melons growing. Different types of cantaloupe is going to use this trellis and grow up the trellis so we can enjoy cantaloupe. I have turnips right here. We just harvested the turnips. Carrots in front of the turnips. I have about, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 bags of potatoes as well. I have bags and plastic pots, I should say, of potatoes. These potatoes right here, I'm hand watering, and I put them in second. The potatoes over there are being watered through drip irrigation, and I put those in about 2 weeks earlier, and they are really starting to die back, and they're huge humps and bumps on the containers. So there's some really nice sized potatoes in there, and lots of blooms, lots and lots of blooms. I keep pulling the blooms off, but you don't have to pull the blooms off. Rhubarb over here. I do have one winter squash over here that hopefully we're going to get it to grow up this trellis here. There's my Cherokee purple tomato over there. Hopefully it'll survive through the weekend, and that'll be our first slicing tomato. Spinning around. I got my corn. It's corning. I picked some of the weeds out of the corn over here, but there's even more weeds in there. I need to get the weeds out again. I have onion growing in the front with lots of weeds. This is my Brussels sprouts. And again, remember I told you the worms took over my garden last week and now they're gone. And so these Brussels sprouts will recover. And so just keep watching. You will see. Yes, they've been eaten up pretty bad, but just wait. They'll come back. They're already looking better than they did last week. I do have some shelling peas back here, or drying peas, dried beans, whatever you want to call them. They didn't come up very well, but there's a few back there. This is another area where I have potatoes that we're going to be pulling out very soon and harvesting. Some broccoli that I need to take care of that's gone and flowered. But I plan to cut these flowers off, and then I should still be able to get a few side shoots like that one there and this one over there. I just need to cut these bigger pieces off. Coming around to the front of where I tell you I had the cabbage and the broccoli there, I have some red onion, and I was hoping for a few more red onion than this, but I have a few. My mom really loves the red onion. These were iceberg lettuce. They went to seed along with everything else that's gone to seed. Or I should say they're bolting. But I believe this is still going to be good. We can enjoy that this weekend if we can get out here this weekend. So I'm now moving over to the side yard. Y'all, look at these peaches. I mean, y'all, they look so good. And I have them protected so well. I mean, somebody's gonna have to come with a knife and cut my netting back to get in there to the peaches. Y'all, my goal is to get to like the 4th of July, which is 2 weekends away. Then I will sample and see if I can harvest these peaches. They are super red. They're super sweet because of this heat that we've been in, that there's not a lot of rain, so they're not going to be watery. They're going to have concentrated sugars in them because of the lack of rain that we've had over the last couple of weeks. So if we stay the course the way we are right now with just enough rain to get by and then not just downpours where we're swimming, I believe these are going to be some of the sweetest peaches I've ever grown. And this is only the 2nd year that I've ever grown peaches. But last year's peaches were really, really good. So I have a few peaches on this tree next to me here. Not many, but a few. And this peach tree always comes in behind that peach tree, even though they're supposed to be the same peach tree. I wonder what's the difference. It could be the rootstock, but this one, it's like it's 1 year behind that one, but this one's 1 year older. But anyway, there's probably a dozen or so peaches on there. They're still green. They're not even close to being ready. And so if somebody wants those 6 peaches, they can have them. But I don't want anybody to take those, y'all. I am trying my best to protect those peaches. So over here are my sweet potatoes. So I have, how many do I have in there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 5? I think I have, I can't tell you now. I could have told you last week because I could tell the rows where they begin and end. But I believe I have 4 rows of 5 in here, and they're starting to really grow and spread out. I had one that didn't make it, and so I've already replaced that one with another one right here, and it's surviving. It's looking okay. So that means all 20 plants are growing well. They're already starting to get out and trellis all over the ground. This is a 25-gallon grow bag right here that I'm growing them in. I had one that didn't make it in there as well. I replanted one, and it's not too happy right now either, but we'll see if it survives. And so I have one small pot there. I have a plastic 7-gallon pot. I have a 25-gallon grow bag, and then I have my metal raised bed of all of my sweet potatoes. And I believe I'm going to grab one more grow bag and put in this space. And these vines are going to completely cover the ground over here, and it's going to be a beautiful area. This is the 3rd year I've grown over in this space. This GreenStalk vertical planter is in bad shape. I'm embarrassed to show it to you, but in the top, I have basil, and then I have lettuce that has completely dried out and rotted away. Underneath there, I have parsley, and the cilantro has gone to seed, as have most of the lettuce. There's a decent head for now, but the one beside it's dead. I have more potato plants over here. These were started indoors. I added a little more soil to this pot, and then they just turned green again, like they're just starting over for the first time, and then they started putting on flowers again. I have tomatoes here. And yes, they're too thick. Yes, they need to be thinned out so that they can breathe. Right now, they cannot breathe. Way, 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 way too thick. Another container of tomatoes there. I mean, potatoes, not tomatoes, potatoes. Just harvested all of the greens from this GreenStalk vertical planter just a few days ago, and you've canned them with me. And then there's a few collards over here and room for me to plant a few more collards now that the turnip greens are coming out. Like I have a whole tier there with nothing in it. So we'll get something else planted in there when the weather and the temperature calms down a minute. There's my flame star. Got 2 flame stars growing over here and they're looking great. Just got to get through the weekend. We'll get those harvested. We'll get the onion harvested. I'm going to have to get this cabbage out because it's going to go bad on me. Nothing there, just harvested there. I got lettuce that's going to go to seed because it's just too hot. And then I have some carrots there. Okay, y'all. The wind has stopped blowing to cool us off from that little bit of rain that we had. So the humidity is back. It's hot. So guess what, y'all? We're going to call it here. So that is my June garden tour, or my June garden update. And everything's growing well in spite of the amount of heat that we have right now. And the harvest has already started coming in. I'm going to keep these videos coming just for you so you can see how the garden's growing. There's going to be some things that are great and there's going to be some things that's just not going to make it. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Turn on notifications and tell your friends and family all about it. I'm growing in a lot of different methods so you can see if one of these methods might work for you. You don't need all of this. Maybe all you need is one GreenStalk, or maybe all you need is one little cherry tree. But I'm trying to show you everything I'm doing because I'm sure there's something that appeals to you. So until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you hang out with me at Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.